I will not curse the darkness, the light bearer's formula. This little light of mine, I'm going to let it shine. So declares the gospel tune, now approximately a century old. Will you join me? Together, our lights can join, illuminate fuller, farther, longer, stronger, and the warmth of these lights together can absorb into the material of our flesh and our bones, our beating hearts and our fearful brains, our pulsing guts and our twitching muscles, our aching ligaments, our breaking hearts, and ignite a sage warmth not available to us before we allowed them to shine. A little brighter, a little truer, a little more clearly together. There are light bearers and there are light snuffers. We know instinctually who the bearers are and who are the snuffers. We know viscerally what it is like to be in the presence of a light bringer. We know gutturally what it is like to have our lights snuffed. And we're also fragile and vulnerable enough to recognize we have been both at one time or another, from one moment to the next, when the fight, flight, freeze, or fawn mechanism of survival and the flight of fear alights in sabotage, and viscerally we have snuffed the light, our own, another's, a group's, gutturally doused that precious light with the hair trigger of fist or flee, paralysis or prickliness, disgust or discard, reject or rebut. We're neither one nor the other entirely. We cannot claim to be 100% light bearer, nor do we ever desire to be 100% light snuffer. So if we are both, if both light bearer and light snuffer lives inside of us at any given moment, if sage and saboteur are live wires in our precious and feeble and hopeful and exhausted, resilient, neuroplastic, still alive brains in our bodies, in our guts, then, like yesterday, I commit to bearing the light. Bringing the light, being the light, extending the light, cultivating the light, protecting the light, joining with the light, seeking the light, magnifying the light, reflecting, refracting, and recharging the light. And I commit to absorbing the light too. Light interacts with matter by reflecting, bouncing from, refracting, passing through, absorbing, converting to thermal energy. Sometimes I need to absorb your light, which converts to thermal energy to keep me warm. When I am isolated, worrying, fearful, anxious, alone, stuck, looping, if my light is low and under the threat of snuff, I may need your light to keep mine lit. And multiple realities can be true at the same time. I can be both a light bearer and a light snuffer. I can have sage power and saboteur deflation inside of me. Humans can only see a very small portion of the light spectrum. Scientifically, around 0.0035% of the electromagnetic spectrum, which is the range of wavelengths that we call visible light. To put it another way, humans are blind to 99.997% of the electromagnetic spectrum. It is visible to us. It is invisible to us, these portions of the electromagnetic spectrum, but it exists. The light, it is there. It feels like we see everything there is to see, but my cat tells me this isn't reality. I see only one tiny piece of what I am capable of seeing from the inside of my own eyeballs. She The cat is capable of seeing what to my eyes is labeled and categorized as darkness, invisible, imperceptible. And light can come in multiple different wavelengths, reflected from multiple different sources, perceived on the spectrum we are capable of perceiving it. And it exists to a breadth I see only a fraction of. It is invisible to me, but it exists. It is there in actuality. So, like yesterday, I will let my light shine and bear the light wherever I go. Because the darkness is not, in fact, darkness. It is blindness to the real spectrum not yet perceptible to me, the fullness of which I can only attempt to and barely conceive. It is not entirely perceived, but it is always available to me. The light, always accessible, always present, always waving itself everywhere and at all times. Always the light is there, reflecting, refracting, absorbing whether I perceive it or not. I will let my light shine compassionately, courageously, connectedly. And I will seek your light too. Both light bearer and light snuffer lives inside of me at any given moment. Both sage perceiver and saboteur douser can be active inside of me at any given moment. The sage and the saboteur are live wires inside my precious and feeble and hopeful and exhausted brain, heart, and gut. So then, like yesterday, I commit to bearing the light, bringing the light, being the light, cultivating the light, protecting the light, extending the light, joining with the light, seeking the light, magnifying the light, reflecting, refracting, and recharging the light. And I commit to absorbing the light too. It is far better to light the candle than to curse the darkness, says the proverb of unknown origin, maybe Confucius. Between stimulus and response, there is a space. And in that space is our power to choose our response. In our response lies our growth and our freedom, says the neurologist, psychologist, philosopher, and Holocaust survivor, Viktor Frankl. The formula, like Brené Brown reminded us, would look like this: stimulus, parentheses, space, parentheses, response. My response is to light my candle, not curse the darkness. My response is to trust my sage and snuff the saboteur's reactionary spark that, if left unattended, could catch the flint of flight, fright, freeze, or fawn. My agency, my love, my power, which is my capacity, ability, and willingness to act, lives alongside my sage, my light-bearing, fire-tending, reflecting, refracting, absorbing self. As light-bearing humans, we exist between sage and saboteur, between light bearers and light snuffers, for both dwell within us at any given moment. I will draw near to the full spectrum of the sage and gently absorb the distortion of the saboteur into love, into compassion, into courage, into connection. Personal transformation leads to communal transformation. Oh, how I need my community of light bearers today. I will let my little light shine. Will you join me? Here is the formula for light bearers. Stimulus, parentheses, space, response. Sage, light bearer, parentheses, response, power, growth, freedom, parentheses. Saboteur, light snuffer.